Hello everyone and welcome to SuttonsDaze. I hope everyone's staying cool out there. It is a scorcher here in Michigan again. We're looking at an extended heat wave for us of the low 90s for the next 3 days. So, okay, do what you got to do to stay cool, because I know everyone's out there with a lot hotter heat than this, and those that are not used to it. So, stay cool. Probably the number one question that I get when people come to this channel, whether it's from the prepper community or the canning community or both, is how long will this last once I can it? How long is this good for? I will, for the beginning of this, tell you that it's not there to stare at, okay? It is there to consume. So don't just put it there and leave it there. You need to rotate through it just like you do anything else, okay? Just like gas for your car. Let's talk about that one for a minute. So you put gas in your car fresh out of the pump, right? As it sits there, over time, it degrades. Don't ask me the time, I don't know. But it sits there and it degrades. And so just like that, your food does something very similar. I brought props. I have props. That's unheard of. But anyway, so I brought some canned ground beef. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. This is deceiving at how much is actually there because it's not on the top, which I don't know if you'll pick up in the camera, but it's actually deceiving how much fat there is not in this jar, okay? And the liquid's down below it. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I canned it this year. This is my ugly chicken, right? Can't do anything without my ugly chicken. And so you see, miraculously enough, it created enough liquid to almost cover the chicken. Not really, okay? That's not a prerequisite by any stretch. So don't count on that. But here's my ugly chicken. Again, I canned it at the beginning of this year. So 2022, we're gonna call these 2022. And the question is, how long are these good for on my shelf? The liability clause, as I call it, has always been 18 months. 18 months is what they put on the lids, when on the packaging on the lids that say this is good for up to 18 months. Okay, that means they're not guaranteeing that these lids, they're not guaranteeing anything actually, that these lids will hold your food good for 18 months. After that, no idea. Now, they can't guarantee it. They can't guarantee it because you cannot regulate everyone to be in exactly the same position when it comes to home food preservation. A lot of us know there's a lot of stuff out there that people do that's not totally approved of or right. But in addition to that, everybody's storage conditions are completely different. So the standard rule of thumb is if you keep it in a cool, dark, dry place, your food is good for 18 months. If any one of those factors is off, then it potentially shortens the life of that food on your shelf. How does it shorten the life? One of the main factors that I can think of, due to the weather that's, hitting everywhere in the world right now, is heat. If there's excessive heat, there is a chance that these lids will come undone. Okay? There's a chance, not a total guarantee, a chance. If they don't come undone, it's still good. There's no problem. However, for optimum storage conditions, you want it to be in a cool, dry place. Cool, dry, dark place. Your enemies are moisture, heat, and light. Those all are enemies to your food storage. And that really doesn't change regardless of what kind of food storage you're looking at. Whether it's canned, dehydrated, freeze-dried, those are the enemies to food. So you want to keep that in mind and do what you can with what you have to store up what you need, okay? Two of the things that I wanted to address specifically were nutritional values. So when it goes over a year, they say as a general rule, unopened home canned foods have a shelf life of 1 year and should be used before 2. Commercially canned foods should retain their best quality until the expiration code date on the can. This is usually 2 to 5 years from the manufacturer's date. They have a completely different process. Just because they do it in a plant doesn't mean you can replicate that at home. I don't know how many times I have to say that. You have different equipment. So you cannot replicate what they do in the stores at home. I know it would be nice if you could, but you can't. When you are looking at food storage, that is when they're saying that it should be used, okay? What they're saying is that it will start to break down. Your nutrients will start to leave, okay, just naturally. Light really sucks the nutrients out of a jar. But the nutrients will degrade over time. Is canning a long-term food storage process? In my mind, long-term food storage is anything over 2 years. Anything over 2 years is long-term food storage. Is my canning long-term food storage? Absolutely not. Have I got jars on my shelf that are 3 years? Absolutely I do. So I know, I am aware that those jars will have slightly less nutrients than what they were when I first put them in. Now, there's a really great example of this. So canned foods maintain mineral content for entire shelf life. Vitamins A and C will decrease rapidly after fruits and vegetables are picked and cooked. Vitamins are lost during heating processes. However, once canned, vitamin A and C loss slows to 5 to 20% per year. 5 to 20% per year. Other vitamins remain close to their fresh food levels. Salt and sugar are not necessary for safe canning and only add to flavor. That's it. Be sure to label canned goods with ingredients when canning mixed foods with like sauces and stuff, because you want to make sure that you know what's in there. It's important. Allergies, that kind of stuff, right? But a 5 to 20% loss of nutrients after a year. Per year. 5 to 20% per year. So if you're putting up green beans this year, because they're good, right? At least my husband says so. Then you know they're already going to lose some of the nutritional value during the canning process because there's heat involved. And then you put it up there. And after a year, you can count on 5%. But if you're still sitting there with them 2 years later, just for the sake of argument, figure worst case scenario, 20%, okay? You've now lost 25% of the nutritional value in those green beans. That's a quarter. And then you go another year and you've lost, and you've lost, and you've lost. This is not meant for long-term food storage. This is meant for what I call short-term food storage, the 2 years. So within 2 years, I'm going to have to go through everything on my shelves. I have 2 jars of salmon. I don't know why. We just haven't felt like salmon. So I have 2 jars of salmon that are 3 years old sitting on my shelf. They are perfectly fine. They will taste perfectly good. They are safe to eat. They were canned properly. They have been stored properly. So I am all good there. Will they have as much nutritional value as something that I either canned this year or bought fresh or caught myself? No. It will have a decreased nutritional value comparatively. So that is something that you need to factor in. Just because it's on the shelf doesn't mean you're safe indefinitely when home canned foods are discussed. I'm going to put a link down below that will kind of go over the rule of thumb, you know, but you want to look for certain things when they start getting up there in age, brown or dark color, and that's for things that shouldn't be brown or dark color, okay? And if your meat is sticking up above any liquid and you raw packed it, that doesn't factor in totally, but you know, hopefully you know that there's what it looks like because it's above any liquid, or what it looks like because, wow, something's not right. You know, there's a difference, and it's a learning curve. I'm not saying you're going to get this all off, you know, first go. The food texture can be soft. It can be softer than what you'd hope for. Number one, you're cooking it when you're canning it. And number two, it's been sitting there for a long time. So if it's 2 years or more, it's probably going to be a lot softer, okay? They say that there can be crystals in canned fish. I have never run across this, but who knows? And some fruits, like apricots or grape juice, can develop like white crystals. Again, I've never seen this. I have no idea. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. These all have different issues with them. They all have things that you need to pay attention to. But overall, how long your food is good for, if you canned it properly and if you store it properly, is a year to 2 years. You can err on the side of caution. I mean, my meats, I'll put up there for 2 years with the expectation that I'm going to rotate through them. I don't just keep throwing it up there without the expectation that I'm going to use it. Canning food, home preserving of food, and putting it there without the expectation of eating it is wasteful. Quite simply, it's just wasteful. Now, most of you know I'm a Thrive Life consultant, the worst consultant in the world. But even my freeze-dried food, which is long-term food storage, because that is all, Thrive Life has a Nutrilock system. It's all safe in the can. It's all taken care of, no moisture, no nothing. And I store that in the same place I store my home canned goods, because extreme temperatures don't work for freeze-dried canisters either, okay? That is good until 20 years from date of purchase. I'm comfortable with that. I'm very comfortable with that, because I know all of it's going to be gone before that happens. Or hopefully all of it's going to be gone before that happens. Unless something catastrophic happens, and we're not looking for that. So you have to know what you're planning to put this up for, why you're planning to put it up, not just out of fear. I mean, yeah, fear is a great motivator for a lot of things, okay? But not when it comes to prepping food. You want to make sure that you know the difference between long-term storage, short-term storage, and a working pantry. And all of us will have slightly different definitions of that, but for the most part, long-term is if it lasts for 20 years, then it's my long-term food storage. Am I still going to use it? Yeah, I'm still going to use it because it's not there to look at. My short-term food storage is my home canned foods. That is my meats. That is my vegetables. That is my fruits. That is my jams and jellies, okay? Those are all to be used within a 2-year time frame. If you have some go over, like my fish did, okay, you're still good. It's still good. Understand that the nutrients will be lost. Not all of it, some of it, a portion of it, okay? But if you canned it properly and you stored it properly, you're good. You're still going to get that, sound when you open up the jar. No, I'm not going to repeat that. And, all of the same things will happen as you go about opening that jar and using the food. So you're good. Don't stress about it. Short term is when I put Raisin Bran into a mason jar to keep it, and vacuum seal it to keep it fresh. Number one, don't vacuum seal Raisin Bran because of the raisins. Anyway, so when I put cereals and stuff into a jar, it's to keep it for the short-term working pantry. There's a merging there, okay? Because I'm going to use it within a year, and that is my way of keeping any pests out. When I put dried goods into jars or into Mylar bags, it is to make sure that I am reducing the possibility of pests getting to it. I don't want to have to take apart that room, if you've ever seen it, because of pantry moths. No, that would be a nightmare of epic proportions for me. So when I put it away, I want to make sure that it's put away safe and secure and sound so that nothing can get to it. If I get a mouse in that room, which has quite honestly kept me up some nights worrying about it, if I get a mouse in that room, it would be devastating to me if they could get to anything. I want to make that room as least attractive to any pests as I possibly can, whether that be flying, four-legged, or two-legged. I don't want anyone messing with my food supply, as I'm sure you don't. So I want you to keep that in mind. When you can something, you've got about a 2-year window, depending on who you listen to, okay? A year is optimum, 2 years. Some of my stuff I do bump into 3, but with the knowledge that you're losing nutrients. Freeze-dried goods, if stored properly, can last you 20, 25 years. Some of these meal kits and stuff, I don't know. I truly don't know. Now, Augustin Farm is known for their bulk, pardon me, oatmeal and stuff like that, and I know I've gotten some great deals on that. But my understanding is, because I haven't opened it yet, my understanding is that it's loose inside that bucket. Now, that bucket theoretically is airtight, sealed, good. But if I ever open it, that's all getting repackaged into Mylar and then put back in the bucket, because I don't want to risk anything sensing that there's oatmeal in there and wanting to get in there. So it's not only how you preserve it, it's where you preserve it and how you protect it. Very, very important to always protect it. And that will keep you and yours happy and safe for a good long time. Remember, it's not meant to sit there and stare at. Yes, you can go in there and you can pet your ugly chicken. You absolutely can. I highly recommend it. However, use it also, because that's what it's meant for. I hope everybody is having a fantastic day. Stay cool, and until next time, be safe.